Wholesaling Lease Options Marketing Mastermind. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the morning session. If you can hear me okay and see the screen, please go ahead and confirm in the GoToWebinar control panel. We'll do some mic and audio tests here in about a minute. A couple of inquiries came in over the weekend, nothing too crazy, but if you guys do have a lead for review, a scenario, or deal for structuring, go ahead and type it in the GoToWebinar control panel. Just a couple updates for everybody. For those of you that are part of our live support and training sessions throughout the day, we have updated the schedules. And so there are time slots now at Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11, Tuesday, Thursday, 3 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. These are all Pacific Standard Time. If you guys have any questions on Podio, maybe you're just switching over to a new system to work your leads, that is the webinar for you guys to go ahead and... Yes, exactly. So if you have some questions regarding Podio and you are looking for some support on, hey, how do I navigate and do this? Or maybe you're working your leads, but you want to change the display or you're not properly utilizing the tasks, then that's the sessions where we'll actually help walk you through it and get those handled and taken care of for you as well. Steve, I think there's going to be some updates to Podio as well, especially for those that we are doing some marketing and processing some leads for. Yep, I just unmuted you, by the way. Go ahead and do a mic test.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, we did do some updates to Podio for Barry, Donna, and them. So yeah, that's already completed and all set. I'm going through and kind of taking a look to see how many leads they have and what status they're currently in at the moment.
Nice, nice. Okay. Can you give some clues or some hints as to what updates were going in there? I know one of the things we wanted to fix was just to have a clearer, easy-to-view layout, and I think there might be some requests for maybe some reporting to go on. That way we can help, make sure people are working their leads in their timely manner. And, we want to balance it, right? We get that people are busy, but at the same time, you would have to set some time aside in the day to process and work these leads if you are in charge of that. Now, if our team is there in place to make some outbound calls for you, then if you can't make the calls, that's okay. Assign it to our teams so that we can make the outbound phone call, do the pre-screening, make a soft pass offer, or follow up on a marketing agreement, right? So if you can't do the call and you have access to our teams, please make sure you utilize that. So any major changes or just some small little updates? What are you guys doing to the workspaces?
Yeah, some major stuff. We added a steps completed field, so, when you make the initial call, you check that off. When you actually contact the lead, you check that off and so on, all the way to sending an offer. So that way you can actually take a one glance at your leads and see how many of them are in what stage, right? So you can see how many of them you've made the initial call on, how many you've contacted, how many you're making offers on, and take a quick glance at that. And then we also added some stuff involving researching the property, places to put pictures if you have them, places to put the link to, county assessor sites, so you can easily go back and find that once you've already located it, and stuff like that. So some key stuff as far as reporting and an overview of where all your leads are at, and then also some hashed out and built out some stuff for, researching the property and coming up with an offer as well.
Nice, nice. All right, so definitely look up for some of those things in the workspace. Once again, if you guys have questions on Podio, or if you are working off of a different time frame or schedule, right, and you can't make the morning sessions, we do have additional sessions throughout the day for those of you that we're doing marketing for, we're doing pre-screening, all that good stuff. Sweet. So with that, Bill, wanted to touch base with you. Anything on your end? I know it's Monday, just getting into the groove of things. Got a couple inquiries here, but wanted to touch base to see if you have anything urgent or that you wanted to review for the group. Anything coming over the weekend for you and some of the students you're doing some deals with?
Karen and I made a bunch of calls out there in California, so we got a couple of possibles on the calls that we made. We call all the way from the Mexican border to Sacramento. So some people advertise like they have a property in Riverside and it's really in Sacramento or Arizona or wherever. So that was kind of fun.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be fun.
When you guys are, if you're new to real estate and maybe you're using Craigslist as your primary starter lead source, if you are in California, just a heads up, you are going to come across a lot of properties that are based both locally, that are in the United States in general, and you're even going to come across ads for properties that are international, right? All within a California Craigslist database or website, right? And that's because California gets a lot of eyeballs in it. You have a lot of out-of-state investors, so people are trying to get as much traffic to their ads and exposure, right? And I mean, the main premise of it is local, right? So ideally, if they're advertising in Los Angeles, the property, should be based in Los Angeles as well. But that's not the case. It's kind of evolved and just people are using it to post from all over the place. So do expect that. That is normal. You simply have to find smarter ways to rework your leads or efficient ways at doing your text and email marketing, for example, right? But it definitely can be done. So got a couple of questions here that came up. Nothing crazy. Definitely some easy walkthrough scenarios and just some things for you guys to look for. First one that we got in was, anyone ever run into this situation? I got a contract 2 weeks ago. There's two sellers who are both on the deeds, right? But sadly, one has passed away. So a bit of a broad situation here. I'm sure there's definitely more to it. This kind of relates to what Maria just typed in the questions panel, asking about probate type of deals. So we're not quite sure if this is a probate situation, but Bill, how do you approach a lead where there's two people on title, one has passed away, both family members? What are a couple of things to look out for where you can build a relationship, not come off as a vulture looking to steal the property, right? But at the same way, also establish and position yourself as somebody in it, as an investment to turn a profit. And there's not much technicalities to this particular scenario, right? Could be anything, but how would you approach something like this?
Well, first of all, from a humanistic point of view, you want to speak to the seller that didn't pass away, and give them your condolences for the other person that did, and just say that you're there and available to render any support to them as possible, and no hurry on the property situation. Whenever if they're still interested in moving forward, and whenever they're ready to do so, you'll be there to take care of business. So that'd be the first thing. Second thing is, it depends on what state you're in, and it depends on the structure of how the property's owned. In some states, if it's a joint tenancy, then it has a right of survivorship, like in California, which means that the remaining owner automatically picks up the other interest of the other party, as long as there's not heirs involved in some sort of a will. So it depends on the circumstances. If the property was set up in a trust with both people as trustees, or the individual remaining as trustee, then there might not be an issue with probate at all. It might automatically flow over to the remaining person that's still with us. So it just really depends on what the circumstances are. If there was no will left and one party died, then it probably is going to get tied up in probate for 6 months. So you just really need to find out what the circumstances are around the laws in your particular jurisdiction, or in the jurisdiction where the property is located. And that's going to tell you what you can do. Assuming the people still want to sell the property, it's going to direct as to exactly when you can do what you can do and when you can do it. Back to you.
Nice. Noah, I see your hand raised. Do you know how to access the questions tab or the window and go to webinar control panel? You just click on questions, type it in the chat line. And that way you'll be able to answer, or type in your question or scenario or feedback. I will just reply to type your question here. So if you guys see it, you'll be able to see my reply to everybody, and then you can start typing your question on in there, Noah O, right? How are things going on your end, by the way? Okay, cool. So it is Becca's lead. Gotcha. 10 siblings. Seems motivated. 10 siblings. I mean, a couple of things definitely to look out for with that. You got a lot of people to coordinate. So I would find out who's who are the main decision makers on there, who are the who's trying to get everybody together, who's going to be flying in locally first, or who's already there to handle the family affairs, right? Have as many conversations, get as many contact numbers as you can to, find out who the decision maker is. You may not get it on the first call. Sometimes you really have to talk and get the perspective of all the other parties to figure out who the actual decision maker is. That's a lot of people, especially on a probate situation or deal. So it can take a while. If this property is in California, we do have somebody that works with probate, and they actually know how to expedite that process, right? And if the family does not want to wait to go through the courts, there are options available to them. Hopefully some of those options have not expired, or the windows have closed on those opportunities. Let us touch base with Steve. Say, hey, if it, I got a possible probate California. If you guys want to partner up on it, joint venture, have Bill consult on the deal, and then we can see what we can move forward there, right? Decision makers and communication. Cool. All right, best virtual number company that has call forwarding, text message, that has local numbers. Thinking about ditching Google Voice since call forwarding is messing up my phone voicemail. Thanks. I recommend first you separate your voicemail system, the Google Voice voicemail and your personal voicemail, right? There is a way in the settings where the voicemail that would activate and store all of the voicemails and messages from your real estate calls will stay inside of Google Voice, right? And that way it doesn't mix with your reminders to go pick up milk at the grocery, or that somebody's running late for dinner, or whatever other personal voicemails that you would get outside of work or real estate, right? You can check out vitality.com. Of course, there's Vumber. Pretty limited on the features, but very cost economical, especially for those of you that are under 3 deal closings per month. That's pretty robust enough to get you past the 3 deals marker and into the next level of call systems or phone systems. Of course, there's always ringcentral.com. I've heard stuff about Grasshopper that you can also check out, right? If you are priced out or limited to the type of tools that you can use with regards to phone systems, then just be patient, right? Google Voice for me is a great tool to start using, even if you're just getting started doing your Craigslist marketing, right? You can have multiple Google Voice numbers. If you have set up a lot before, you may have some trouble setting them up from the same computer. So you might want to restart your modem, go use the Wi-Fi at another location to try to get a refreshed IP address, right? So you can set up multiple Google Voice numbers using a different forwarding numbers. No, they cannot all go to the same phone, right? Not directly, at least. Okay, you can't point 5 Google Voice numbers to the same landline or the same forwarding number. They have to be different phone numbers on each Google Voice account. So if you did want to set up 5 Google Voice numbers to ring to your cell phone, for example, you have bandit signs, you have postcards, you have direct mail, you ran a pay-per-click ad on Facebook, and you also have somebody going door to door, leaving a flyer in a neighborhood. Okay, so if you wanted all 5 of those Google Voice tracking numbers to ring to your phone, your cell phone, you would need to set up 5 unique phone numbers, okay, that point to your cell phone. So as long as the forwarding number on Google Voice is a unique and different phone number, they can all go to the cell phone if you're absolutely adamant about that, right? And that's just if you want to set it up that way. Cool. So code enforcer. This is a good one. We handle bandit signs. It comes up every 2-3 weeks. Somebody, gets called on or finally gets that notice from the bandit sign police about taking down the sign, too many signs, or a warning, something, right? So we had somebody actually turn this concern or situation in. Code enforcer called me today for me to stop putting out my signs. Well, time for plan B. I have a lot of Google Voice numbers. Should I use a burner phone to be on the safe side? It almost sounds more like a spy a spy hostage situation here. When you start talking burner phones, and I mean, you could do that, right? You could do that. Bill, you guys use bandit signs in your area. It's still an active, effective marketing tool and a channel there in your area. Should this person continue, and again, when it comes to bandit sign, guys, you always have to check with local regulations. We're not attorneys. We're not well versed on what the local rules and guidelines there in your area. It's really an at your own risk and whatever is comfortable or acceptable there locally, right? For me, I would let this cool off a little bit. Okay, I wouldn't put out as many signs, or I would relocate my signs to more acceptable areas in the neighborhood. I wouldn't piss this code enforcer off is basically what I'm saying, right? Because there are a lot of times when, they get that's how you operate, that's how you make your money, that's how you put food on the table. They got nothing against that. But at some point, your signs did attract attention. So they don't want to have to shut you down. And so there are calls, warnings, messages, communications where they want you to read between the lines. And one of those messages just so happens to be, hey, cool off a little bit, all right? Let the people calm down before you start putting more of these pieces out there. Or else I will be forced to crack down on you and on your operation. Nothing personal, right? You guys have a nice, unique relationship there in your area, Bill, where you can still put out bandit signs on wholesales, lease options. What are some good options to consider for this particular scenario? Should they scale down a little bit? Proceed as, should they move it up, right? Do even more? How would you tackle this one?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't mess with a code enforcer, because they make most times they'll make a courtesy call and tell you to stop putting out your signs. But they have a lot of power. In some cases, they have more power than the police. And there was an investor in Phoenix, Arizona, about 4 or 5 years ago that decided to basically give them the middle finger, and he not only didn't stop doing the signs, he put more out, but he got burner phones and, unknown websites that didn't tie into him, and on, and he was able to go forward for about 6 months until one day when he was sitting in his office, a code enforcement person and a sheriff came knocking on his door with a warrant for his arrest, and they took him away in handcuffs, and they put him in jail, and the judge basically said, if you ever do it again, we will throw away the key and forget about you. So, I don't recommend that you get in the face of a code enforcer. What we do is, because I've had them after me over the years, and that's exactly what I did, is we laid low for months. And then what we did is we started putting them out on the weekends. Like Friday evening, the code enforcement people in our market go home after about 3 o'clock on Friday. So from after 3 on Friday till 8 a.m. on Monday morning, we put out our signs in key areas, and then we pull them down. And if you don't do that, then eventually somebody's going to complain, and then they're going to come after you. And if you've been on the list before, the second experience is probably not going to be very pleasant. They're going to fine you for every sign you put out, etc. So I'd recommend that you lay low. Another idea of what you can do is if you can get permission from an owner of a property that's on a busy street, and you actually put it on their property and not on the right of way, and maybe pay them for the use of their lawn and give them extra signs, and pay them monthly for the use of their sign. I mean, you could test it out. If you start getting, 100 phone calls a week or whatever, pick up 4 or 5 deals extra a month, and obviously it's going to be more than worthwhile to be on those corners, and you're going to be out there 24/7 because nobody's going to touch your sign. So, you have to use your best judgment. And again, you operate at your own risk. I mean, if you choose to go against the code enforcement people, you do so at your own peril, but that's what I would do. Back to you, Gil.
Yeah, so if you're brand new and getting started and you're not quite sure, how they would react or how serious the phone call was, I would shift gears into other marketing channels, right? For a new person, that phone call, that situation can be very, very intimidating to the point that the person that gets the warning automatically just shuts down. You know what? Oh, real estate doesn't work, or this is, too intimidating. I don't want to have to go through this anymore. Bow out, right? Just automatically quit. And so instead of freaking out like that, again, they're not finding you right off. They're giving you that courtesy call warning. So definitely, instead of giving up, I would consider other marketing channels, right? Whatever you were putting into bandit signs, reallocate that budget towards other forms of marketing, and maybe just take a look at a flyer campaign in certain target neighborhoods instead of bandit signs, right? Shift gears and operate that way. For some folks, they sleep better at night. It's a principle thing, others don't care. And if you're an investor that's doing multiple deals a month, what that threshold is, and if it's not a serious thing, because not all markets are the same. Some bandit sign police will just go as far as doing a warning call. They will not take it further. Other markets, I've heard of stories where they would actually set up a sting operation to try to catch the person behind the bandit signs. So if you're a newbie or just getting started, reallocate that marketing elsewhere. If you're a veteran investor, I still think you should reallocate it elsewhere. Or maybe focus on other areas where you can start testing the response rate of the other code enforcers in those areas, or at least start placing them in areas that are more quote unquote acceptable, right? Maria, on that HUD deal, Steve did type here and responded. For the HUD deal, definitely follow up on the time frame, but it looks like the offer, they can definitely make an offer on that, right? So touch base with Steve directly. That way you guys would be able to move that particular lead forward, or we can assign it to somebody who can make the offer out to get it sent out to HUD. All right. So with that, guys, pretty tight and concise session. Want to be able to... Yes, exactly. So we want to be able to start focusing more on some outbound calls on the group sessions. And so if you guys, once again, if there's no particular content or question that you guys have, maybe you just want to strap in and dial in, see what we're up to, listen in on some live calls, then you definitely want to jump on the support and training calls throughout the day. These aren't required, guys. These are simply open channels for those of you that we are marketing for. Yeah, exactly. They are support and training for those that we do marketing for, and that way you have a direct line of communication to us. Some of you, I recognize the names. We've had calls on possibly bringing on a phone team for you. So just a courtesy call. I do recognize some of the names and faces that I see on the session. And if you guys had some time to consider some of the options that we had talked about, do let me know. We are in the process of updating our outbound call schedules and the teams. So if we have somebody on a possible hold for you because you have campaigns for us to work, or outbound calls that need to be made, do let us know this week. Reach out to Steve or to myself so that we can get those campaigns started. If you were able to find other vendors that can, get the stuff done, what you were looking to do to the T, then yeah, move forward, try it out. Either way, you need to, take action somewhere. And so I know for some of you, we did say yes and approved some of the things on your checklist. There were other items on there that were not a good fit for what you need to be focusing on, right? Some folks were requesting certain tasks, and unfortunately, it doesn't apply to where you guys are at, right? What's an example of that? Let's see. Well, we had somebody who's a brand new investor go on the website, check out some of the videos, and they wanted to hire a full-time phone person, but they don't have any direct mail coming in, and they had an extremely limited budget, right? So we need to get marketing out first, right? They need to put their money towards marketing, have some leads coming in, and then we'll know how big of a phone team we need to have in place to be able to process those leads, right? Awesome. Okay. I do see a follow-up on here. Looks like somebody... Okay, awesome. I'll go ahead and update the email and send that one out to you. Perfect. All right, guys. Well, I'll catch you guys first thing tomorrow, 8 o'clock. If there's any urgent questions, hopefully we'll see you on there. Otherwise, we'll bring up some of the questions that are coming in online and from some of the investors we keep in touch with. Otherwise, have a great day, and we'll see you first thing tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.